य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते अस्मिन् लोकः अस्मिन् दोषः सर्वे तदूनात्यधिकश्च नान्यमीकश्च एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you. Please be seated. It's my privilege to introduce a learned and senior faculty, CAK Vidyadharan sir. Vidyadharan Krishnaswamy is a fellow member of our institute and also holds a diploma in information systems auditor. He has served many large industries for a total period of 15 years. The English Electric Company of India Limited, now known as Alstom Chennai, Madras Fertilizers Limited Chennai, Philips India Limited Mumbai, Alphatine Group Dubai. Thereafter, he has been into practice in Chennai for the past 25 years. He is the managing partner of Mrs. Vidyadharan and Associates. He specializes in internal audit, risk-based audit, due diligence, tax audit, transfer pricing audit, limited reviews for listed companies, etc. He has traveled widely to countries such as Singapore, Australia, Italy, Malaysia, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh on professional assignments. He is a guest faculty with our institute as well as with the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, Institute of Internal Auditors of India, Madras Management Association, University of Madras, CNDT, Regional Training Institute, Society of Auditors, etc. He is the past president of Institute of Internal Auditors of India and currently serving as an advisor of the Publications Committee of the same. And as a member of the National Advisory Board of IAA India and as a Governor Board of IAA Madras Chapter. He has authored a book titled Fraud Prevention and Detection Through Internal Control, which was published by IAA India in the year 2022. He contributes articles for RBIA, IS Audit, Operational Audit, etc. to various professional journals. His article on application controls, a total approach to its audit, won the Best Paper Presenter Award from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. With this brief, I have great pleasure in presenting before you CA Vidyadharan Krishnaswamy sir to handle today's session on critical controls for effective business operations. Before I hand over the podium to sir, may I now request Shri Ankush Jain to come forward and present a shawl and a memento to our speaker. Over to Vidyadharan sir.
Good evening to each one of you. Today's CPE meeting, the topic given is critical or important internal controls for effective business operations. Any entity requires internal control systems. Any activity requires internal control. Any operation, any project, whether it is a for-profit organization or not-for-profit organization, service industry like hospital, wherever you go, internal controls are essential and very, very important for the success of the organization. As you all know, risk assessment, risk management is also very, very important for any activity, any project or any business. Basing on the risk identified, you have to manage the efforts. In fact, there is a nexus between risk management and internal control systems. Why do I say that? When you identify a risk, you have to mitigate the risk. You have to reduce the risk. You cannot eliminate the risk 100%. That is why we use the word mitigation. Mitigate the risk. How do you mitigate? There are 4 T's. One T is treatment of the risk. How do you treat? By introducing, by implementing internal control system, you reduce the risk. That is why I say there is a nexus between risk management and internal control. Now, I have used the word effective internal controls. Let us now see what are all the subtitles or topics which we are going to discuss in this evening. Let us look at what is meant by efficient and what is meant by effective. Let us see the difference and also see which is superior. Efficiency is superior or effectiveness is superior. Let us look into that. Then, benefits of internal control. What are all the benefits? So important it is. I am equating with risk management, internal control system. What are the benefits? What are the uses? What are the objectives? Let us see. Then, meaning of internal control. In a sense, a definition, a short and sweet definition of internal control we will see. Then, critical controls in various functional areas. Any business has got number of functions, various functions. You all know, we all know as chartered accountants, we study inventory, payroll, supply chain, distribution, procurement, F&A, so many functions are there. Here we will spend more time on internal control, critical control, important controls in some of the functional areas which I have selected, a few areas I have selected. We will spend little more time there. Then, after understanding the benefits, the meaning, the definition, various controls, let us see what are the types of internal control. You all know preventive control, detective control, corrective control. One way, this type of 3 types are there. In another way, entity level control, process level control. Let us look into that. Then, basing on our experience and dealing with various internal audit assignments, I feel that 4 internal control are very, very indispensable, very, very important. It is a kind of prescription I am going to give. These 4 controls are a must. That we will see what it is. Then let us look into frauds and scams happened in and around us, including Satyam computer system, scam, Enron kind of thing. What is the missing control there? What is the common thread? What is the commonality there? That we will see briefly. Then, internal control frameworks are there. One such framework was pronounced by COSO, Committee of Sponsoring Organizations. Let us look into that. Even in the IFC, Internal Financial Control, ICOFAR, we say, internal control over financial reporting. COSO internal control framework has been advised for use for doing internal IFC audit. That we will see in detail. Then how to monitor internal controls. There are various types of internal controls. How to monitor, how to review internal control. We will see there are 4 or 5 methodologies are there. 2 or 3 we will see in detail. We will spend little more time there. Then limitations of internal control. Even internal controls have got limitations. What are the limitations? How to overcome that? We will see. Finally, we are control experts. We as auditors should be experts in internal control. So with that we will come to the conclusion. Now, efficient versus effective. May I ask a question? What is efficiency? What is effectiveness? And which is superior? Can anyone guess? What is the difference between efficient and effective? Or both are interchangeably used. In fact, in most of the cases, both words, terms are interchangeably used. But there is a subtle difference. Efficient work means produce intended results with optimum resources. Resources are scarce, we know. Everywhere, resources are scarce. Whether it is men, material, money, time, effort, people, staff, resources are scarce. With the optimum resources, you produce the intended result. That means you are efficient. Effective means produce better results with the same resources. That is what I understand out of my decades of experience in handling internal audit assignments, auditing in the field. So I feel if any of you would like to offer any other explanation, I can learn also. So efficiency means intended result, effectiveness means better results. Examples I can give you. Efficient, produce more quantity in a given time. Effective, produce quality products in a given time. That is the subtle difference. Another example, car servicing. You purchase a new car, 3 free services are given to the new car purchaser. So the car company phones up and reminds you, your car is due for first free service or second free service or third free service. Bring the car, get it serviced free of cost, and then go back. That is on-time customer satisfaction. But if the same company says, we will pick up the car, we will send a driver with a proper driving license, proper ID card, he will come and pick up the vehicle. After the service is over, he will bring back the vehicle, drop the vehicle. That is customer delight. That is the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, satisfaction and delight. Another area we all know, company secretary services. Many chartered accountants I know, even I do in my office, companies registered under the Companies Act, filing of ROC forms, annual returns, etc., etc. We don't do. We outsource it to company secretary friends. So, if the company secretary, whatever document you give, they file it and complete the work, that is efficient. File given documents, customer satisfaction. Supposing if the same company secretary, that was the case when we gave it to one company secretary, some mistakes were found out later on and we were caught in the middle. Then we approached another company secretary. He verifies the document, checks the document. You are giving the statutory audit report, CARO report, IFC report, and signed financial statements. He will cross-check between the financial statements figures and the reports. What are the parameters satisfied by this company? Whether this company requires CARO report or IFC report. All this he checks and then points out any errors are there and he corrects it. So that is customer delight, checks documents and files. So this is what I would like to say at the beginning about efficiency and effectiveness. Let us go to benefits, uses or objectives of internal controls. Visible to the last people, conduct business in an orderly and effective manner. For conducting any operations in an orderly manner and an effective manner, internal controls will be very helpful. Then, safeguarding of assets and resources. Then, to prevent, detect, correct errors, frauds, theft, etc. There are number of controls which will prevent, preventive control, detective control, corrective controls are there. So that will be very helpful. Then it will ensure accuracy and completeness of accounting data. You have number of controls while entering the data, accounting, input control, processing control, various controls are there. So it will ensure accuracy of output, completeness of input, all that. Then produce reliable, timely financial and management information systems. MIS reports, financial statements, financial reporting, timely it will come out and reliable reports will come out if there are Pakka internal controls implemented in your company. Then ensure adherence to policies and procedures. This is also very important control. Meaning, I'll give you a short and sweet definition. Internal control means systematic measures such as reviews, checks and balances, methods and procedures implemented by an entity to achieve entity's objectives for successful conduct of the entity business. This is what the definition says, and we have seen the benefits and objectives of internal controls. Now, let us go into critical controls in functional areas such as procurement, inventory, accounts receivable, finance and accounts, construction project, etc., etc. Some of them we will go into detail. Procurement cycle. Procurement has got various functionalities. That cycle will be starting with supplier selection, purchasing as such, purchase order, placing the order, etc. Receiving the goods, inspecting it and all that. Accounts payable, disbursement, payment. All these are various functions. First and the foremost, someone to monitor and supervise the entire process is required. Some supervisor, a person like this, it's only an image. Many of you will be knowing Murphy's law. Murphy, industrial engineer during Second World War time, has given number of laws known as Murphy's laws. If anything is left on its own, it will deteriorate. In fact, all auditors bank on this only. If anything is left on its own, without any control, without supervision, without monitoring, it will get deteriorated. So controls are required, supervision is required. So first thing, a supervisor, overall supervisor, manager is required for procurement as such. Secondly, choose the suppliers wisely. It is an elaborate procedure in any organization. Supplier selection, there is a process. Vendors selection process to be comprehensive and elaborate. Suppliers empanelment process will be as follows. Let us go into the detail. Suppliers empanelment process. First you have to collect lot of information before including any supplier into the approved list. What are the information? There are umpteen number of information. Name, address, contact detail, associate companies, subsidiary companies, group details, nature of business, turnover for 3 years, annual report, financials for 3 years. If it is a private limited or limited company, you will go into MCA site and see the records. You can find out lot of information which will be very useful. And whatever information the supplier gives, you can cross verify also. HR details, number of employees, technical staff, non-technical staff, quality assurance staff, all these details you have to collect. Registration particulars, TIN number, GSTIN, PAN, all those things. Then details of top 10 customers of the supplier. Certificates acquired, various ISO kind of thing. Presence of approved quality manual. The company should have quality manual, which is an approved document, whether that is being used or followed in the company. In fact, many companies visit the supplier's place and collect all the detail. While collecting the detail, they verify, for example, quality control manual, technical staff, quality assurance department, how it is situated, how many people are there. They examine all that by physically visiting the supplier premises. That is a proper thing to do. Then list of machineries, equipment. Then list of testing equipment, measuring instruments for quality checks. Then do you follow incoming inspection? Incoming inspection means whenever you procure or purchase, that incoming goods inspection. When you are sending out goods on sales, that is pre-delivery inspection. When you are purchasing, it is incoming inspection. Do you do that? Do you follow pre-dispatch inspection? All these things you should record and also verify when you are visiting the supplier. Then do you provide regular training to upgrade skills of your staff? That is also to be required. HR person you have to interview, check the papers, documents, how many programs they have conducted. in-company program, outside seminar, workshop. In fact, after attending a seminar or workshop, whether the staff are required to give a report on the whatever they have learned from the workshop or seminar, that is also a must. Can our quality assurance team visit your premises for assessment test? That is also a question. For effective communication, nominate your quality assurance person. You should ask them. There should be a person for communication, because he is going to live with the company, supplier is going to be there for number of years, so you have to communicate off and on, so that is also required. Then a declaration at the end of the form and signature. So these are all the information to be collected. Then justification report for selecting other than L1. Lowest quotation we know L1, next higher will be L2, L3 like that. Supposing for your company you are ordering laptops, say 100 laptops to be distributed to various managers in your organization, located in various branch offices spread across the country. You are floating a tender, you are receiving the tender applications, and you are unable to choose the L1, you go to L2. So justification report for selecting other than L1. Why do you go for L2? Because it is a branded laptop only you are going to buy, either HP or Dell or Lenovo, whatever. But the company says, I have a service network in all those places where you are having branches, so that downtime will be reduced. When there is a problem in the laptop, it will be repaired within a quick time. So he has a good network, because of which his quantum is L2. So so for which the justification report has to be prepared in writing, written, approved, signed, and all that. It should be an auditable document available for auditors to see. That is a report. Documents to be in place in the procurement cycle will be as follows. Starting with purchase requisition, suppliers quotations, quotations analysis statement, you are analyzing all the quotation, then justification report you are giving for selecting the purchase order. Purchase order is another document. Inspection reports, goods received note GRN, suppliers invoices, suppliers registration forms, suppliers assessment report. All these are documents used in the procurement cycle, which documents should be serially numbered, sequentially numbered, preserved, and all that. Fifth control will be approved suppliers list reviewed and updated continuously. How will you update, how will you review the suppliers, approved suppliers list? There are some parameters you have to see. Parameters to be checked will be % of on-time delivery. Basing on the experience of the supplier supplying the goods, how many times on-time delivery, how many times delay in delivery, that you have to see. Accuracy of shipment, quality-wise, whatever you have asked for, specification, your specs are completed, you got what you specified, that is another parameter. Stock code situations, you are ordering but the supplier is unable to supply, stock code situations come, because of which production downtime in your company. So that is also another parameter. because of this supplier, how many times stock out situations happened in my company, in my production. That is also there. Then product quality, rejected reports. Quality, after receiving the goods, you are inspecting, quality control inspects, and you are rejecting. How many times you have rejected? All these analysis. These are all the parameters. Workshops, seminars and all that. Every time we conduct a seminar, 1-day seminar or 2-day conference or whatever, we will have a backup faculty readily available, either the same subject faculty or slightly different subject, but additional faculty will be lined up and kept ready, so that in the case of absence of a particular faculty, another person will come and handle. So that is the mitigation measure. Buying medicine, what kind of problems may occur? You send your son or daughter to a medical shop, the person may give expired medicine, or he may not dispense with the proper change after giving the money, or he will say alternate medicine is available, this is not available. That means you have to check the generic name of the medicine, chemical. So check expiry date and chemical name for equivalent. Shirt button falling. Suppose today I have to come for this seminar, I have to wear a tie. At the time of taking the shirt, I have to put the neck button. Button has fallen down. Then what will happen? It's a shabby situation. So there should be spare button in shirt, stitching kit in hotel. Supposing I go to some other place for a seminar as a faculty, I am staying in a hotel. Nowadays you find hotels give a stitching kit also, along with the paste and brush kind of thing. Stitching kit also they give. That will have a thread, button, needle, all those things will be available, so that you can stitch it and then go. That is the mitigation measure. These are all day-to-day life happening. Bath shower stopping suddenly. You go to go to some place, stay in a hotel, and you are taking bath, shower suddenly stops. So how to mitigate that kind of risk? It has happened to me once. That is why I have added here. Have a bucket full of water always. So nowadays, whenever I go and stay in a hotel, I fill up the bucket fully and then keep it readily. And I take to bath in the shower. When this kind of problem comes, bucket full of water will be rescuing me. Now, day-to-day risk we have seen. Let us see the business risk and mitigation. First one, product recall. We have discussed a little bit earlier also. Product recall is a perennial problem. Name any manufacturer, you would have recalled the product, and it's a huge expenditure for the manufacturer. How to mitigate such a risk? It's a business issue, problem, not a day-to-day thing. It's a business risk. What kind of mitigation measure so that such a heavy expenditure can be met smoothly by the manufacturer? As I told you in the earlier slide, having a cushion, set apart 30% of the surplus, having a cushion. But particularly for product recall, many of the companies have a system of having a product recall earmarked fund. Whenever they release a new model, they set apart certain crores of amount, earmarked fund, they create it and keep it. When there is a product recall, that will be utilized. Frequent car accident. This is what I explained. driver assigned differently. That I have explained already. Frequent return of defectives, this also I explained. Quality control issue. Funds shortage means working capital mismanagement. Accident due to wet floor. In a restaurant, there can be accident because of wet floor. So the customer may file a suit against the owner of the restaurant. Keep it clean, train the staff, and also have insurance policy so that such a loss can be cushioned by the insurance claim. Food allergy. Some people go to a restaurant, take some food. If there is allergy, they will make a claim on the owner of the restaurant. So, how to avoid such a claim? In the specify the ingredients in the menu card itself. Many fine dining restaurants have a menu card, name of the dish, and ingredients also they will briefly give. So many people are allergic to wheat. They want gluten-free product without wheat. Such people will select items which is suitable for them. So ingredients should be specified in the menu card itself. This is the way by which you can mitigate the risk. Quotable quotes about risk. Know your friend close, your enemies closer. Know your opportunities well, your risks very well. No universally accepted definition of risk. Risk management guru Harold Skipper once said, no universally accepted definition of risk available. A situation is risky if a range of outcome exists and actual outcome not known in advance. That is the short definition of what is risk. Risk management is all about vulnerability and taking steps to reduce it. So these are all the quotable quotes. Characteristics of risk. Uncertainty of occurrence. There should be uncertainty of occurrence. Probability of occurrence should not be 1, it should be less than 1. That is called uncertainty. You cannot eliminate risk 100%, you can only mitigate, that means you can only reduce the percentage. Always downside, always loss will happen because of the risk. But there is upside also available, provided opportunity or gain, effective risk treatment, 4 T's are followed. Terminate the risk, that means avoid the transaction ab initio, so that you can terminate the risk. Transfer the risk by having insurance policy or appointing a subcontractor to do the manufacture, so you are transferring the risk. Treat the risk by introduction of internal control measures, that is treatment. Tolerate the risk. Even after introduction of internal control measures, some residual risk will be there that can be tolerated. So these are the 4 T's. Terminate the risk, transfer the risk, treat the risk, tolerate the risk. Certain risk, always loss only. What kind of risk? There will be always loss. You cannot gain even if you follow any kind of treatment methodology or so. What kind of risk will be always loss, result in a loss? Can you guess? Hazardous risk, fire, flooding, such kind of things always result in a loss. Even you may have insurance policy, but insurance company will not give you 100% of the loss incurred by you. It will deduct certain things and then you will get less only. So net result will be a loss. So hazardous risk. And as per the definition of the internal audit, responsibilities of internal auditor twofold: advisory role, assurance role. Under the advisory role, you have review of control system, review of governance system, review of risk management system. Under assurance you have compliance. Let us look at the risk management system. Risk management process: identifying the risk, finding out the causes for the risk, finding out what is the likelihood of occurrence of the risk, that is probability of occurrence of the risk. If it occurs, what is the impact or loss that will be incurred. Profiling of the risk, rating of the risk into high, medium, low. Then treatment of the risk so that risk can be reduced. Treatment 4 T's. Then maintaining a risk register so that you can refer it always. Then reporting of the risk. This is the entire risk management process. This is one of the ways by which you monitor internal control. That is why I am explaining the risk management process in detail. Risk management process, first thing is identification. How will you identify? You have to interview people or questioning the people by which you identify a risk. There are various functions in a company. Take each function, sit with the manager. For example, you take safety manager. You have a meeting to identify risk in the safety department. You have a meeting, internal auditor, risk management, risk manager, safety manager, and the production maintenance people. All those people you have a meeting. You question him by having what kind of control systems you have. There are number of buildings are there, plants are there. What is the safety against fire? What kind of fire detection system you have? Then safety manager will say, I have heat detector installed in all the buildings, all the plant, factory building, administration building. Heat detector I have installed, so that when there is a fire, it will detect and then give an alarm. Then you counter him by saying that instead of having a heat detector, it is better to have a smoke detector, because when there is a fire, first smoke will emanate, not the heat. It will take more time to develop heat, which will be sensed by the heat detector. By the time losses would have happened, damage would have happened. That is why you counter him by saying that it is not correct to have heat detector installed in the buildings. It should be smoke detector. Then you note down there is a risk in the building safety department. So that is how you question him and write down the risky area. Again you ask him, what kind of fire extinguishing system you have? He will say, I have a water sprinkler system installed, overhead tank is there, pipes are installed all through the buildings. When there is a fire, it will trigger the sprinkler system, water will spread and then it will douse the fire. Again you counter him by saying that if it is a water sprinkler system, it will damage the records, it will damage the furniture, it will damage the computer, so there will be losses. What better solution you have? I can suggest there should be halogen gas release, not the water sprinkler. Halogen gas is also there, carbon dioxide is also there. Between the two, carbon dioxide is human enemy, because you cannot breathe carbon dioxide, you will die. So halogen gas, human can also breathe, nothing will happen. So there are systems available. So likewise you find out the lacunae or the shortcoming or the risky areas in a particular department, for example safety department. Coming to plant maintenance department, have a meeting with the risk manager, internal auditor, plant maintenance manager, GM maintenance and all that. You ask him, do you have insurance spares? What is meant by insurance spares? Critical spare part without which the machine will not run. If there is a breakdown of the machine, if the critical spare has to be replaced, you should have the stock immediately. So whenever you buy a plant or equipment or a machinery or even a computer server, computer system, complicated network thing, the manufacturer himself will tell you what are the critical spare parts that you should buy along with the equipment. Critical spares are otherwise known as insurance spares because it ensures losses are minimized. That is why it is called insurance. It will act as an insurance against losses. That is why critical spares are otherwise known as insurance spares. This is the technical term used by chemical plant and other engineers. So, if you do not stock the insurance spares, that is a negative point, that is a risky area, you write down. Then you ask him, maintenance manager, annual maintenance contract, whether you have specified MTBF, mean time between failure, which I have already explained. That you should have mentioned. If you have not mentioned, then that is another point. Likewise, you go on discussing with people. Again, procurement manager, you go to procurement manager, purchase manager, buyers, internal auditor, risk manager. You sit with him and ask him, how many raw materials are there in your company? He will say 22 different raw materials are there. Out of which, how many are critical raw material? Critical raw material meaning, if that raw material is not there, there is no substitute, production halt will be there, downtime will be there. Such material is called critical raw material. Take for example, he will say out of 22, 7 are critical raw material. For the 7, take the first one. How many suppliers you have? Critical raw material 1, suppliers. He will say, I have only one supplier, he is a very good supplier, located nearby, I have only one. That itself is a problem. You cannot have only single supplier for a critical raw material. Minimum 3 you should have. Then he will say, for critical raw material 2, I have 3 suppliers, all are located in the same location. Again, that is a problem. That is a negative point. That is a risk. You will say, you have to say, 3 different suppliers should be located in 3 different areas. If they are located in the same area, if there is a problem, if there is a tempest or cyclone or flooding or anything happening, untoward things, all the suppliers will be affected and no one will be able to supply the critical raw material. So that is again a problem. Likewise, you go on identifying the risk by having interview questioning with the people. Then root cause analysis. Repeated accident insurance claim, driver issue, which I have explained. Repeated sales returns as defective. These are all root cause analysis you have to sign. Cash crunch means working capital mismanagement. Project cost overrun due to flooding. Leakage of harmful gases, equipment failure. These are all the areas where root cause analysis will help you identify the cause for the risk. Then comes the likelihood of probability of occurrence of the risk. The likelihood would depend upon so many factors. For example, high volume of transactions, high value of transactions, absence of division of duties, geographically remote location, weak internal control in the particular area, errors due to high work pressure, fatigue kind of thing. So likelihood, scale and scenario you can find out like this. Likelihood means probability of occurrence. Probability 1 means it will certainly occur. Less than 1 means there is a possibility it will occur. Likelihood scenario can be taken like this. 1 is very rare to occur, 2 is may not occur, 3 some possibility, 4 very likely to occur, 5 it will occur. Occurred in some other industry, happened in another entity, once occurred recently, happened several times in different location. Likewise, you have to study the likelihood, scale and scenario. Then comes after likelihood, first is identification, causes, likelihood, then impact. What kind of impact it gives? For example, production disruption, impact scale is given 1 to 5. Production disruption 1 to 5 days means insignificant, 5 to 7 days means low, 7 to 8 days means moderate, 8 to 10 days means high. Likewise, we have to analyze the impact. Impact in a safety environment. Insignificant, low, medium, high, extreme. Some environment damage resolved in days. That means insignificant. Minor injuries, limited damage, low. Several injuries, medium damages to environment, medium. Fatality means high. Fatality means death has occurred. Serious damage to environment. Likewise, you have to analyze the thing. Then risk profiling or rating of the risk. You have to rate it high, moderate, low. In the x-axis, consequence or impact, y-axis, likelihood or probability of occurrence. For the likelihood of occurrence of 1, it will be low or moderate or high, depending upon the consequence or impact. This is how you have to give the rating or profiling. Profiling is nothing but the rating of the risk. Then let us look at various types of risk, just as we have seen types of internal controls. Operational risk, vendor unable to supply is a risk. Accident is a risk. Operational risk. Internal control weakness. No division of duties. No delegation of authority. No bank reconciliation statement. These are all operational risks. No physical verification system. Then hazardous risk, fire, floods, cyclone, earthquake kind of thing. Strategic risk, new product introduced resulting in loss. Strategically, the decision was wrong, proved later. Merger unsuccessful, that is a strategic risk. Change in market condition, petrol price up, less running, tire sales down. This is a strategic risk. Competitor action, EV car, CNG car coming in so that petrol car goes down. Financial risk, forex fluctuation, interest rate fluctuation. Environmental risk, air pollution, extreme temperatures, radiation kind of thing. Toxic waste. Security risk, IS related, data leakage in cloud environment, denial of service attack, piggybacking kind of thing. Phishing attack, email related. Risk mitigation, as I told you, 4 T's are there. Terminate, which I have already explained. You have to terminate by not having that activity, eliminating the activity. You can terminate the risk. You can transfer the risk by insurance or subcontracting or having a joint venture for the production of that particular item. You can transfer the risk. Treat the risk by introduction of internal control, additional control. Tolerate the risk. Any residual risk remaining, you have to tolerate. So these are the 4 T's. Residual risk has to be tolerated. Risk register has to be maintained. Risks identified. Risk incidents have to be recorded in the risk register. Find out the sources and causes, likelihood and probability of occurrence, impact or consequence or loss has to be mentioned, profiling or rating of the risk, treatment or mitigation of the measures, residual risk. So these are all mentioned in the risk register. Risk monitoring and reporting. Risk management is an ongoing process. Business environment, dynamic, so constantly changing. Reporting on risk status to CEO, audit committee, monthly and then and there, as and when incidents happen, immediate reporting has to be given. Otherwise, monthly reporting. This is what the companies follow. Monthly reporting to the CEO and audit committee. Residual risk under constant watch. So this is about monitoring. How to monitor internal control? Last one, training the staff and educating the staff. There can be in-house training. Job rotation is also important, so that by having a rotation of the job, each individual will be trained in various aspects of the job, so that in times of absence of a particular person, another person can chip in. That is why job rotation is also a kind of training. Seminar and workshop, hands-on training, certificate course with examination preferable, and report to be submitted after attending the program, which is insisted upon by many companies nowadays. After attending a workshop or training program, they should give a summary of what they have learned and give it to the reporting manager as well as to the HR manager. Then comes the internal control system limitation. Segregation of duties, okay, but it becomes ineffective if there is collusion. That is what we have seen happened in all the scams which have happened. Collusion. No such thing as perfect control system. Inadequate staff strength entails weak segregation of duties. If only you have adequate people, you can have proper segregation of duties. Otherwise, so all the 4 aspects will be done by 1% or 2%. That is a risky thing. Internal control system will be weak due to human error or stress or fatigue or misunderstanding of the internal control manual or the aspects. Encourage compulsory earned leave. It will enable unearthing of the hidden irregularities. Compulsory giving leave also, vacation also is an important control measure. So that in the absence of the person, another person will come in his seat, so that whatever hidden during his period may come to light. That is why compulsory vacation is a must. Job rotation, cross training are helpful. Cost of control not to exceed expected benefits. Introduction of control should not be just like that suggested. What is the cost of introducing that control? How many people are required? How much salary to be given? What are the procedures? What are the paperwork? How much time will be spent? Time and effort. All those things studied. Cost of control should be borne in mind before advising additional internal control to mitigate the risk. So these are all the limitations. If internal control violations not addressed timely, it can result in controls breakdown, and significant losses to the business, and importance of internal control system should be realized by every manager and every auditor. I think with this we come to the end of the session. I'll take questions. Any questions you would like to ask?
So it is very useful if you have this mail to all the members. Number 2 point, this is all we have been talking in our books, in our various organizations, but it is not happening. We talk about the Enron and so many other scams, but again in India, in Tamil Nadu or in any part of India, it is happening every day in small measure from 5 crore to 250 crores. Either the politician making mistakes, or the businessman making mistake, or the employee is making a fraud. It looks like the simple control system of from the GST e-way bill, it has reached within 24 hours a destination of 50 kilometers. So many things. These are all the government related control. In spite of this, we say the cheating is done for 250 crores, 100 crores. People are going for raid and getting the various cash and other things. What is that we chartered accountants have done on this picture? This is what is which I would like to add more than what he has added. So, and now the present system can effectively be used, provided the cycle of money is not deferred beyond 60 days or 90 days. The banks are not doing their job when they go for the stock audit or when they go for the receivables. So I would prefer it a larger thinking or extended thinking. Bank statement itself should be made effective to control by introducing some 2+2, 4 digits of additional control system, where the businessman can say in certain terms which can be evolved by our chartered accountants also can think and have the brainstorming. I have effectively made I have made a system of code control for any ledger or any inventory or anything, where it is beginning with 1 and ending with 9, which I implemented to my clients, and it is slowly picking up very well, or to a greater extent. Only one thing which I wanted to add with reference to what he has been talking, what we have been talking, what we have been thinking, is what the Supreme Court has asked yesterday with reference to governor's role, with reference to certain role by the central government. They look for affidavit, put the affidavit. Whether the directors are putting the affidavit, we have to insist for that. I hereby declare I am not collided with my colleagues, with my CEO. We talk about the internal control. Internal control is not that we have the right to comment, but it is happening at the end of the year. But what the ROC or SEBI has to look for, the fraud should not happen. Every 3 months they publish a result for listed company. For unlisted company also, they should put a demand, they should put a affidavit, demand an affidavit once in 3 months. So we have not done any fraud, we have not collided with anything, something like that. This is what is my suggestion with reference to internal control, with reference to risk mitigation to the Indian government, Indian public. So other than that, I have a lot of things to talk, but the time is not It's not the time to go beyond another half an hour or 1 hour. It's already 7:15. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Viswanathan. Your inputs are well taken. What I would suggest, we should train and educate the people. We should conduct in-company training, educate the people about the internal control systems and risk management processes and all that. That will help a lot. Awareness should be created. That is what is the crux of the matter. Thank you very much. We'll meet in next seminar. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you for a wonderful session, Vidyaranand sir. We can end up the session with national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Everyone can leave. Thank you.
Whether this can be sent through the mail, you are
Yeah,
presenting.
I'm